What if I told you that the internet was all just one big lie? What if I told you that the person that you're replying to on Twitter or Facebook doesn't actually exist? What if I told you that there is a possibility that all of the information you see online and a huge majority of the interactions you see online are only there to fearmonger you, control you, and subliminally force you to lack critical thinking skills? Well, my friend, these questions can all be answered through one simple concept: the dead internet theory. If you're watching this video, there's a high chance that you probably already know what the dead internet theory is, at least to an extent. And if you don't know what it is, boy oh boy, you're about to learn about something not very cash money. Now, I want you to put yourself in this situation. You whip out your little iPhone or your Android if you're a weirdo, and you see Jessica Boob 12345 reply to your selfie telling you that you're cute and she wants you to DM her. Now, you've never gotten an interaction from someone this gorgeous before, so you slide into her DMs like a penguin in an ocean full of lube, and you start talking to her, and after a few minutes, you notice her responses are relatively instant, and she starts telling you to join xyz.titty.gov to go see more pictures of her. And because you don't really know what's going on the internet these days, you join this website with your email and your password, and lo and behold, there is no pics of Jessica Boob 12345 anywhere to be found. You then go back to your DMs with her and ask her what's up, only for her response to be that her AI programming has failed to recognize your response and is spewing back to you a bunch of errors. Well, my friend, you've just experienced a big issue with why the dead internet theory is a thing. That girl was never real and was fully being ran by an AI bot that was designed to convince you to join a bogus site that just fished your information, and now your email is compromised and is currently sending sex spam advertisements to your boss and family. So good luck explaining that to everybody that you know. Now, the dead internet theory suggests that the internet mainly consists of bots and AI generated accounts, and content that's main purpose is to manipulate a website's algorithm in order to sway opinion, scam people, and in some cases even control the population by minimizing organic human interaction. This theory even goes so far as to suggest that even some government agencies are using AI models to create accounts to force their political agenda onto unsuspecting consumers of social media. I know personally there have been countless amounts of posts that I have seen on Twitter by these overrun gimmick accounts that just spew straight lies to people, sometimes with upwards of 100, 200, or even 300,000 likes. And that's not counting the amount of people that just saw the post and never liked it. And even if these posts eventually do get community noted, think about the amount of people who saw that post, absorbed that information from the post, and never went back to check on its validity. And then those same people spew that information to other family members or friends, and it just starts a chain reaction of misinformation. And as you can see after this explanation, this would be very beneficial to the government agencies that are quote unquote supposedly using AI models to force their agenda. Some studies suggest that over 50% of web traffic is not even human. And honestly, just thinking about that being true scares the absolute hell out of me. As of September 2024, Twitter has 335.7 million users. And if this theory is true, that means that 167,850,000 of those users are bots or AI accounts ran by a script. And that's on the low end if this is true, which, I mean, I sort of believe. All it really takes is to go in the comment section of an account like Dexerto, a social media news outlet, and realize that at least half of the replies there are either OnlyFans models saying the same thing that they say on every comment, or spam pages posting some video that's completely unrelated to the original post. Or one of the weirder ones I've seen is some random guy replying a description of the tweet that is very clearly written by ChatGPT. And the worst thing about all of this is that these bot accounts garner more attention than actual real humans commenting. I know I am not the only one out there that has clicked on a tweet and was curious to see what people were saying about it, only to be bombarded with a bunch of accounts spamming short videos completely unrelated to the tweet. That is honestly probably one of the most annoying things about Twitter in my opinion. One of the biggest issues with Twitter now is mostly due to the way Elon Musk has changed the verified system. Now that you can just buy a blue check mark for $8 a month that essentially pushes your comments to the forefront above others and also lets you monetize your account by how many times your comment or post has been seen, it has greatly incentivized people to make as many bot accounts as possible to farm interaction and earn money. Now, I'm not saying that there weren't bots before Elon owned Twitter, but it doesn't take a rocket science to tell that there's definitely a hell of a lot more now. And it's really not very hard to find evidence of it, considering it lies in the comments section of every semi-viral tweet. And believe me, it's not just Twitter either. There are entire pages on Facebook dedicated to posting AI slop images related to Jesus or anything to garner sympathy and interaction, with the comments on these accounts being flooded with amen over and over and over again, even though it's clear as day that this is just a Jesus made out of shrimp or a literal dog holding a baby in a flood. Now, this can also be argued on the intelligence level of the people who interact with it, but that is also a major issue in and of itself. Not everyone is an internet goblin like I am and doesn't know how to differentiate between what's real and what's AI. But that is who these AI bots target the most. People who don't know and those who are easily manipulatable. Even YouTube itself has been overrun with bots. Coming from someone who's been a YouTuber for about 7 years now, I've noticed a growing number of obvious fake comments from fake accounts, sometimes even mere seconds after posting my videos. These are usually very sexual bots that flood my comment section with very obvious AI written responses, usually saying something along the lines of, "Oh, this video was very well written and scripted and perfect, and yeah." And that's coming from Jessica Boob 12345 with a profile picture of a big ol' oily ass. Now, YouTube is very concerned right now at the sheer amount of bot activity influencing their algorithm. At one point, bot views were such an issue that internal YouTube employees were so worried that YouTube's algorithm for detecting them would start to treat these bot views as real views and misclassifying the real views as fake ones. YouTube would eventually call this phenomenon the inversion, and the inversion has been used many times to support the dead internet theory. Now, you might be asking yourself, hey, what is the biggest reason this bot activity has even become so prevalent? Well, the answer is very simple. Where does this money come from, and why are bot accounts the reason for so much flow of money? Well, that's an even more simple answer. Advertisements. There aren't many corners of the internet you can go without being shown some sort of ad. Whether it be on a YouTube video itself, on the edges of a web page, a very annoying pop-up window. If you've used the internet, you know where ads are, and you've definitely seen millions of them by now. Well, from the eyes of the companies that put ads on websites, they want as much views as possible on their ads, and therefore willing to fork out the most money for it. But I highly doubt these companies would like it if they knew that at least 50% of the views on their ads were only being seen by bots and not actual humans. I want you to look at this for a minute. This is a Chinese click farm. Hundreds, if not thousands of phones ran by people that are made to just do exactly what the name suggests. Click stuff, whether that be liking, following, commenting, anything. And it's all fueled by money. The folks over at NBC Today set up their own mini bot farm, proving how quick and easy it is to generate fake traffic. They also state that one person can man up to 200 phones at once, and these companies can have thousands of employees working for them. Now, I will let you do the math on that.
The average person working one of these click farms, there'll be one person for 200 phones. And a click farm might have hundreds, if not thousands of employees clicking at these things all day long.
You can really see how this has become such a glaring problem for the internet, and especially advertisers willing to pay sites to run ads. Now, where and when did this exactly start? Well, we're not too sure, but we know that somebody on 4chan, I know, crazy that a theory would stem from 4chan, right? By the name of Illuminati Pirate, coined the term and started a thread called Dead Internet Theory, Most of the Internet is Fake. This person suggests that sometime around 2016, the internet started going from mostly human traffic to mostly bot-generated traffic. And these bots are a lot of the times not glaringly obvious, like some that you see today on Twitter. A lot of them can be designed to blend into the rest of the internet and appear very real. One big phenomenon was the I hate texting era of Twitter back in 2021. This is where a very unsuspecting account would tweet, "I hate texting," followed by another activity. Something like, "I hate texting, I just want to hold you." Or, "I hate texting, let's just move in together." And while these tweets and accounts aren't necessarily harmful or pushing some kind of agenda, they are being created for the simple act of farming likes, clicks, and views. And because these accounts are typically made to be very relatable, they are able to garner a lot of attention and interaction. Now, this is where it's time where we put on our tinfoil hats. One of the more darker sides of the dead internet theory is that it also suggests that our own government uses bots and AI to push political agendas onto us, and using it to manipulate the population and sway opinions. As many of you know, social media is a political hellscape, and a lot of people use social media purely to interact with posts that are political in nature. Well, unfortunately, the algorithm is designed to throw at you whatever you interact with the most. So if you sit all day on Twitter interacting with posts from your preferred party, it's going to push more posts that are related to that to you. Or it's going to do the opposite, where it's going to push posts to you that will anger you enough to elicit a response from you. Anything that will get you to interact in any way, the algorithm will show to you. Now, this isn't inherently the problem. The problem lies within everything we have discussed so far: bots and people paying for interaction to get pushed in the algorithm. Now, you and I both agree that it is very bad for political agendas to be pushed onto people in the form of inauthentic, non-human interaction, especially when there is a major abundance of misinformation being spread on a daily basis. I mean, who do you want to be getting your information from? A human being that does their own research, or a bot spewing out unverified AI scripts? Especially when it comes to topics as important as politics, I know I personally would rather have a discussion or a debate with a real person. And that is why there is such a major issue with this. Sometimes you just straight up can't even tell who or what you're talking to. So to be fully transparent, I wrote everything before this sentence back in September of 2024. Since then, there has been a major update to the world of AI and bot interaction as we know it. And there is only one company that could have caused something like this: Meta. In December of last year, Meta announced that they are planning on adding tons of AI-generated users to Instagram with full-on bios, pictures of quote-unquote themselves, and can also share and interact with other users. Connor Hayes, Vice President of Product for Generative AI at Meta, said, "We expect these AI accounts to actually, over time, exist on our platforms, kind of in the same way regular accounts do." Hayes states that it is a priority for Meta over the next couple years to use these AI accounts to make things more entertaining and engaging. Their goal with this is also to make it more attractive to a younger audience. Now, personally, I think this is absolutely the worst thing you can do to attract real human traffic to your website and getting people to stay longer. With the rise of AI taking over every corner of the internet, generally people are pretty against AI these days, especially when it is being used to manipulate and replace authenticity and genuine human interaction. But Meta and Mark Zuckerberg simply just do not give a shit. They don't give a hot damn. I don't give a hoot. All these people, all they see is just dollar signs. They will do anything and everything to get as much people spending as much time as possible on their apps and websites, regardless of how shady the practices are. Although I will say the one positive side to this, I guess you can call it positive, is that Meta's rules state that AI-generated accounts should be labeled correctly. But I mean, we're talking about Meta here. Who's to say that rule is going to be permanent? And who's to say that they aren't already pushing AI-generated content on the side that's getting a pass from the rules to test out whether it's working or not? With companies like Meta having all of their past controversies when it comes to privacy and whatnot, we can never be fully too sure with them, especially with Zuckerberg. I don't really know about that guy. Well, this whole theory, I guess you can't even really call it a theory anymore, since evidence pretty much points that it's very much real and right in front of our faces every day, is something that is very concerning and frankly terrifying for our future. Every day, teachers and professors around the world are having to take on new measures to ensure that their students aren't able to use ChatGPT to pass their classes. Now, why is this so scary? Well, there are probably quite a bit of teachers out there who frankly just don't give a shit, or they don't know the best ways to combat this rising issue. Hell, in 10 years, we most likely will have engineers out there who have never retained any information in school, and they just use ChatGPT and other AI to get a degree. This is the scariest part about AI, in my opinion. This is AI directly affecting the incompetence of people in the real world. When you refuse to study and you refuse to apply critical thinking in order to pass a test, you do not retain the information. Therefore, you cannot utilize what you learned in the real world. The fact of the matter is, ChatGPT and AI are simply making people more stupid. For example, now on Twitter, you can in @Grok in any comment section, and it will spew a script about whatever the post is about, which necessarily isn't an issue. But the concerning part about that is that I see people doing that constantly, and it will be like a video of like a dog doing a backflip for a tree, like not like complex scientific mathematical equations. It is an absolute sign of laziness and refusal to do even the most minor research. But I don't know, man. I'm just some dumb YouTuber guy, but I'm also a dumb YouTuber guy that grew up without internet and grew up having to do my own research when I wanted to learn stuff. Personally, I think AI has its own place in the world, but the way it's being used on a daily basis and how ridiculously easy it is to access publicly makes it a major concern for the future and the overall intelligence of the human race. I do, however, think that AI can help with many things and also help us advance immensely. But when you start using AI to replace authentic human interaction and things that only humans can do well, that's when it becomes a problem, at least in my eyes. Well, if you've made it this far, I just want to thank you for watching, and